you at B, before carrying out the compensating variation, the demand curve will be here. So basically, that's how the demand curve is derived without using the indifference curve. So those are the two demand curves. With this one, the steeper one, which at C, but at the same lower price, then at B, it means that you haven't carried out the compensating variation. So basically, that is how the demand curve is derived. Okay, any question? Now you can ask. Let me see what. Okay, nothing much. Any question, or we end here? Silence means we end. Okay. Nabukela, unmute yourself and ask. Okay, Taves, I don't know how you call that. Fabino, unmute yourself and ask. Simon, unmute yourself and ask.
Yes, so madam, I've been requesting, because some of us we had network issues. So by the time we logged in, we got to like we found you like on.
You get the recording.
Yes, but okay, I'm requesting that you repeat for me this derivation of the demand curve, and also slide 14.
For the what?
Slide 14 about the A and C, about
okay.
B being desirable, and yes, those things.
Okay, let me do that. Okay, yeah. Let me first answer that. Now the demand curve using the reviewed preference. So basically here, the only difference is that this time we don't use indifference. So originally, if the individual is 1, so you also record that in the down diagram where you're driving the demand curve. So on this axis, you have price and quantity. So when the price falls, the budget line rotates outwards. The individual moves to point B, consuming additional amounts of X at B. So you record that in the down diagram. At B, when you carry out a compensating variation, now we looked at that when we were looking at indifference curve, substitution and income effects. In other words, you take away the additional increase, the additional income, so that he is not better off. So in that case, when you do that, the budget line shifts downwards. So, and that budget line passes through A, because you want to show that when you take away that income, he either settles at point A, in which case the substitution effect is 0, or he chooses a point to the right of A, in which case the substitution effect is positive. Obviously, he cannot choose a point to the left of A, because these commodities were available, but were revealed inferior. Remember from our triangle, we said that they were available, but he chose A. So now he cannot choose these points. So he either chooses A or a point to the right of A, such as C. So when you join these points down here, you come up with the demand curve. One is with the normal demand curve, I mean the Marshallian, then the other is with the compensated demand curve. Now, to explain this diagram, I said that still we are trying to explain the concept of observable behavior, like we just observe and we conclude. So in the situation where we have 3 budget lines, so when you consider the first budget line, we have combinations A and B. They are both on that budget line B1. So that means if the individual chooses A, then he has revealed his preference for A along that budget line. So it means that he cannot choose B where A is available. Okay. Now let's look at other income configurations, other budget lines. When you consider B2, we have combination B. So in this case, with this B2, the individual will choose B because now A is not affordable. So that is the only situation, because on this budget line B, he cannot afford the A, so he can choose B. But when you consider budget line B3, you see point A is below B3. So that means he can afford the A. Since in the beginning he chose A and left B, now for income configuration for this budget line B3, you cannot choose B. You have to choose A, or you can choose another combination such as C, but you cannot choose B because B was available in the first place, but you chose A. So basically, that's why you can only buy C or A if you want. So basically, that is the explanation. Any other question? Emma. Emma?
Yes, Madam, I was asking on this issue of compensating variation. If we are to converge and find out the inferior goods and the not affordable ones, does it have to do with the substitution effect?
Income effect mostly. The substitution effect still will be the same for any good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Samuel Abiriga.
Yes, madam.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having a bit of confusion on the consumer surplus on that diagram that you're explaining. Well, to understand it technically well.
Okay. What about Rachel? Is it Rachel or Raphael? Raphael. 0. Coco 0. I think some people just put up the name so that their hands so that I see the weird names, eh? Okay, you ask. Do you have a question?
Doctor, I would like you, I would wish that you repeat for me slide number 13. Slide number 13, please.
I will.
So we change track number.
Raphael. Okay, Nabukela.
Madam, for me, Raphael.
Nabukela, you talk. Okay. Let me answer. Let me start with the. Let me start with this in consumer surplus. I don't know which part he's talking of.
Hello.
Yes? Okay, let me first answer this. So consumer surplus, we said that this is how we use the indifference curve analysis to illustrate consumer surplus.
Can you get me? Hello.
Yes. Who is this talking? Nabukela.
Yes,
Ask your question.
yes, madam. I wanted a review on the. Madam, for me, I wanted a review on the supply curve of labor kindly.
Okay. Let me first look at this consumer surplus. So consumer surplus is the difference between what the consumer pays and what he's willing to pay. So basically that's what we are illustrating here. So you can see originally the individual is on the difference curve 1 here at E1 and he's buying X1. So he's spending BY1. This is income. He's spending BY1 to buy X1. So we want to see what he was willing to pay. So we draw another budget line, which is vertically parallel to the original. So these two budget lines are parallel to each other. And when they are parallel to each other, it means that they have the same slope. When they have the same slope, it is like, and this one is passing through point B. What we want to show there is that prices have not changed. So we want to illustrate how much he was willing to pay for that particular amount to spend. So when you trace that through E1 to the new indifference curve, then he's at E2. And E2, you can see he's spending, or he's willing to spend BY2. So when you look at that difference there, it is what we call the consumer surplus. So basically that is the consumer surplus. Someone inquired about that diagram. This diagram just tries to explain the preference. So if we look at point A, without considering the budget line, we know that we said that the assumption, one of the assumptions here is that more is preferred to less. In other words, the individual prefers a combination of goods, which a basket of goods which has more of both commodities. So obviously, all these combinations